All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, Ask and Tell YP. Special guest today, the Jeremiah Pa. And so, Jeremiah, I just wanted to ask how you got into volleyball.
So that's a funny question actually, because I actually was not into volleyball at all from the beginning. I think growing up, I was always into different sports. I played lacrosse and I did wrestling before I actually ever touched a volleyball. And then, all my friends and families, they all started playing here in Pennsylvania. And I eventually picked it up and was like, you know what, since I can't do anything else but play ball. Like I might as well just try to get good at it, and that's kind of how I started playing.
Yeah. And before I focus on the Mong volleyball aspect, for those, I mean, people know, but you play college ball. So what
Yeah.
was the college volleyball experience like? What was like the recruitment process like?
So college ball, I play. So let me get this because everybody gets it mixed up. I played Division 3 volleyball, not Division 1 volleyball. Um,
Mhm.
I actually wasn't even looking to go and play college ball until one day at practice, at one of my high school club practices. Some guy just randomly came up to me after seeing me play and was like, "Hey, like, what would you like? Would you like to play at a higher level other than high school?" And I was like, I never really thought about it because I never did any of the recruiting processes. I never posted any of my highlights anywhere online so that other coaches could see. So just,
Mhm.
I mean, that's basically how I got recruited. One of the team teammates on that team messaged their coach about me, and then he messaged me about it, and that's kind of how I went through the recruiting process, and then eventually I visited the campuses and did all
Mhm.
that, and then was like, let's go and play college.
Yeah. Were you practicing like daily? Because I know when I interviewed Brendan, he was like mentioning different kind of practice schedule. Was it different for you as well from high school to college?
Oh yeah, it was way different from high school to college. Like college, you were even in the off season, you were practicing almost 3 times a day, or not 3 times a day, but 3 times in a single week just for the off season. And then
Mhm.
going into the actual season, you'd be practicing every day, and that'd be like that. It would include, going to team lifts, which you had to do if you were playing on a college team.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
then next thing, a couple hours later, you'd be going into a 2 to 3 hour practice. So high school was super lenient. I would say that. Like you did not do any of what you did in high school compared to what you did in college.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
And then now moving to the Hmong volleyball aspect of it, how did Fanatics form? Was it your idea? Would you guys all just like, hey, like let's go play in tournaments?
all right. So how Fanatic formed was we actually had a couple of teams before Fanatic with our Mong guys. Some of the older guys, and then once Kenji, Richard, because they're not the same age as us, they're like 2 to 3 years younger than us.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
once they started getting better was when we started picking up the younger guys like Kenji, Richard, Chandler, and all them. And then on the Fnatic team that used to play with like the older guys and the older generation was just me, my brother, Aping, and Yilang. And then we started picking up the younger guys and we are like, you know what? Like let's go out there and let's compete. But we always before Fnatic actually went to the Midwest, we would always go play in smaller tournaments like Michigan or North
Hmm.
Carolina, just to kind of prove our skills to see if we were worthy enough to come up to Wisconsin,
Hmm.
because none of the older guys in our generation have ever gone up to Wisconsin to play
Oh
competitively
wow.
in these tournaments too. So the all we would always hear that, like Wisconsin, like they're so good. You guys have to be able to do this and do that to be able to hang with these guys. So that's what we did. We went to smaller tournaments until we are ready enough to go play into Wisconsin in J4. But the team basically formed just because the guys got older and we needed more guys, and Kenji and them were getting better, so picked them up, and that's how Fnatic formed.
Yeah, was I think I saw a post too. Was Fanatics more from like a church kind of perspective too? Like from like you guys too?
Yeah,
Or
so all of our guys here, everybody that you see on Fnatic, we're all church and family friends.
mm,
So in Pennsylvania, it's a very small community.
Hmm.
So literally, Fnatic, if you look at Fnatic, that's all you have left that are still playing competitively. Like we have to wait, like Kenji and I have to wait like another 5 to 10 years for us to recruit younger guys to come and play with us.
yeah, yeah.
So so it's kind of hard. Like we're not like Wisconsin where we have so many young athletes out there where we can just go out and recruit, you know?
Hmm.
We have all that's left. We're all that's left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch base because I know you said it's a small community. So like, what's the comp like? Do you guys actually practice just like go play against Mika people, or do you guys just play against each other?
Yeah, so if we're trying to practice, we'll run some scrimmage games before a tournament, especially like J4 like last year.
Hmm.
Our main thing was we would run against the older generation guys, and there's only like maybe a couple of them left, enough to make another team to play against us. But at the same time, it wasn't like a skill level where that was the only thing we did. You know,
Hmm.
we're lucky enough to have big enough outdoor like Mika tournaments that we can go in and play in
Hmm.
to further enhance our skills and see if whether or not we're ready to go out and play. But man, it's hard to it's hard to run scrimmages and stuff out here when you literally only have what, like 12 guys left that still play in Pennsylvania. So it's
Hmm.
tough.
Yeah, and I think Casey, you can go ahead with like the his first like Midwest tournament if you wanted to ask that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't your first Midwest tournament, besides the Michigan, of course, like was it
Mhm.
like Wausau, right? Like with like Hale? Was that the first one?
So trying to think actually.
Because I know you came in Labor Day, and that's where we linked up. But I know you came that Wausau first, right? If I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So my
yeah.
first ever Midwest tournament was when I came up and played
The biggest
with,
Wausau tournament
yeah,
probably.
the biggest Warsaw tournament when Hova actually, I posted my highlights on the Hmong volleyball community page because, I mean, how else am I going to get out there if I've never been over there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
So a couple people saw my videos and started asking me to come up and play. And then next thing you know, I see a message from Hova saying, asking if, I wanted to go and play with them. And at that time, I was like super excited until they recruited too many players to where there was two KO teams. So
Yeah, I
I
saw
ended
that
up
KOT
being,
going.
yeah, I ended up playing with the younger guys, and it was a good tournament, good experience, I would say. It was enough to tell me that, to the point where I was like, if our guys really trained and if our guys were dedicated, we would be able to come up here one day and be able to last. Because shoot, if I can come up and do it, what makes the other guys not be able to come up and do it?
For sure. How was that like KO team, like the KO2 team? Because I heard you guys did really good that first day, and that second day you guys
Yeah,
played Phantoms, who got second place, but
Yeah.
they
it
made
was
a run too. So how was that?
it was a good experience. I definitely was very nervous when I first
Mm,
came up because I didn't know what to expect, especially after hearing all of our OGs saying that, oh, dude, the Midwest is no joke. And then I finally came up here, played with a completely new team.
Hmm.
Especially, I played right side that tournament too, which I'm not a right side, but I can play whatever. I'm needed there. So that was kind of where I came to play. There's some good competition, and then there's some obviously lower level teams where I was like, okay, it was a good mix of both.
Mhm.
And for my first experience, yeah, it was fun, man. I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we did lose to Phantom on the second day after splitting with them the first day, so it kind of sucked, but that just made me realize that got to come back, train harder, come back, and maybe come back with our own team and see how we can
Mhm.
do. Because I mean, it's very hard to go out and compete in such a big tournament with just a pickup team. So
Yeah, and the second time now, that was the Labor Day, right? Where you played with Jofa and
yeah,
you ran into a block party with Bob and Chandler. How was that, man? Yeah,
oh my
and
gosh,
you had a tough pool play too, to be honest with you. Like Mo
yeah.
Swan and
So
Brandon Pong was like there too, like just
yeah,
randomly. Yeah.
first of all, I actually want to give props or give the appreciation to those Jofa guys for giving me an actual chance to come up and play with their team
Hmm.
because whew, it was literally like their family team and it's just a random kid from Pennsylvania coming up to play with them was but it was a good experience. I thank those guys, they showed me the they showed me everything about Wisconsin, the hospitality and playing that tournament, it was fun. Like you said, we had a tough pool, which made it even more fun. Um,
Yeah.
I remember that was my first time I ever played against like Most Wanted and like I guess how you say his last name, Brandon Fong, and
Yeah.
them. And it was nerve-wracking, but man, it was the first time I've probably played some like good Hmong competition.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
like you said, we did go up against Bob and Chandler and them, and I've always watched them on YouTube,
Mhm.
especially like the year that they won J4 too. So I knew that these guys were good. It's just I didn't know the guys were like that good.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's different when you actually go against them. It's like, oh dang, there's levels. Like Kevin
But
Boo was there too. Everyone, like older
yeah, like
guys. Yeah.
all those older guys are there, so it was good to come up. What after that game against Bob and Chandler and them, what was it? I think Kevin Boo's dad came up to me and just kind of motivated me to come back even better, even though you have these guys coming out here to compete, that should make you want to come out and hopefully be better this time next time and come back and beat these guys. So that's kind of how I took it, and I just kept coming back every time.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then fast forwarding from like your first time at Wausau, if people don't know, you guys actually came as Fanatics one year. I think it was 2023. Um,
Yeah.
even though you didn't win it all, you guys were like top eight quarters. Lost to KO, which is who you played with the first time.
Mhm.
What was it like just playing against like Hova, Yulang and those guys?
All right. So first off, before, yeah, like you said, that was the first time we've ever brought out Fanatic under that name,
Hmm.
and especially with the younger guys like Kenji and them, dude, they were all like I give props to Kenji and Richard and all them too, because at that time, like when we ran that Fnatic team, they were all like 18, 19 in their first ever tournament coming out in the Hmong community, especially in
Hmm.
a big tournament like that too. But yeah, that year it was, man, we had a hard way to get out too because we had like that tournament, we only lost to two teams, which was Rush Hour and KO. And we fought all of our way into the semis and played KO, and that's when they had Travis and
Brandon
another
Schmidt, Brandon Schmidt.
guy.
Yeah, Brandon Schmidt.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
another
Memorial
guy
Day, that
that
was a tough one.
yeah,
Uh,
literally tough to play against him. And you guys can kind of guess how it kind of went. I mean, Travis just OT'd us, Hobart and Yelang were kind of like just
picking
digging every
everything
single
up.
one of us
Yeah.
up. Exactly. And
Hmm.
they're just playing more of like a unified team. I think we were also a little intimidated too because man, we've seen Travis and all those guys play over YouTube too. Like we've all like our whole team has looked up to that team and how they play and wanted to win, but unfortunately we couldn't. But it's okay. We ended up getting third, playing Vidya them in the for the third place. So that's that was our motivation to go to more tournaments
Hmm.
and to
Hmm.
showcase Fnatic. And we started doing that, and now we're running as Fnatic.
Yeah, and then I think the big one people want to hear you talk about is the this past J4. Obviously, so much, there's like so much on social media,
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of
I think
controversy
I just
about
wanted to
that.
ask,
Yeah.
what was your experience like at, that was your first J4 tournament,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
what was going through your head? Were you excited, nervous, expectations?
So so we weren't originally supposed to even bring those guys.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We actually, yeah, we weren't originally supposed to bring those guys until we actually sat down and talked with our team and we're like, hey, like, we need the extra help. And we weren't afraid to say that too. Like we weren't
Yeah.
afraid to say that we needed the extra help to go and compete, especially in the biggest Mong tournament. But going up, uh, we were all nervous. Like all of us were nervous because none of us have played in Minnesota before J4. Like I played in one tournament before J4 in Minnesota, and that was
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And yeah, all of our guys super nervous because we knew that all the top teams were coming, like Gutta Boys. We knew that A team was coming. We so we were just like, dang, like all the top teams are really gonna be here. It's either we're gonna go up and get embarrassed, or we're gonna go up and embarrass others.
Hmm.
So it was one or the other for us
Hmm.
because we've never been over there. And then when we actually got there, dude, we had an amazing time.
Hmm.
Whether or not there was trash talking towards us, like we still had an amazing time because
Hmm.
we got to see family again. A lot of people think that we go to these tournaments just to just to go and play ball, but no, like J4, we got to see our family again. We just got to hang out with everybody that was there. What
Hmm.
was it? But talking about J4, we honestly did not expect our Mika guys to kind of overpower
Like
like
to come out
that.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
because we've seen them play like they're all local. They're all in Pennsylvania near us. So we've
Hmm.
seen them play against other Mika people. And we've seen them struggle, but we've never just see them straight up overkill.
Mm.
And because of that, like I mean, there's some games where we did feel kind of bad, but at the end of the day, like this is J4. Like we're here to compete. Like we're
Yeah.
not
It's a tournament. We're here to win.
it's a tournament and we wanted to just come out here and compete because if we wanted to go and have just strictly just fun, we would have never came to J4. We would have just went to some other
Hmm.
small tourney like in Wisconsin or something like that. But
Yeah.
it was a good time. Good time. We honestly did not expect to go all the way to the finals, but
Mm.
we did expect for us to at least, make it far, just not that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, how was it to be in the finals? Like, not a lot of people could even say that, for J4. So like, what was your
Dude,
experience like being in a J4 finals?
that was most definitely the biggest crowd that I've played in, played
Hmm.
in,
Hmm.
and it was just an amazing experience, not just to me, but to all of our guys. Like I think at some point in the middle of the game, like even our white boys were like, dude, like this crowd is crazy, where they just had to stop and just look around to see like everybody watching and everybody just getting hyped up. And the
Hmm.
fact that like those semi-pro players can say that means that,
Hmm.
dude, like this is such a great event. Like who wouldn't want to be a part of this?
Yeah.
And being in that finals, it was definitely nerve-wracking, dude. It was so nerve-wracking that, dude, even I was afraid to go hit during warm-ups. I was like,
Yeah.
dang, you got Rhode Island bouncing balls left to right, and you just got like 5'6" guys trying to hit a ball down.
Hmm.
But it was definitely good. Nerve-wracking. I could tell that that crowd definitely got into our white boys' heads, but it's their first Hmong tournament. Like
Hmm.
can't
Hmm.
ex you
But for the
never
first showing, they did really good though. Like way better than like, not to say, but like when other people bring a white boy, you don't really
yeah,
go that far. But for them to take you guys to
exactly.
the finals is kind of crazy. You got to give them props.
See, I always get this saying that Man, I always say this to people. It's like, dude, if you're bringing white people to come up and play, you don't want just some regular average guy that can only hang with Hmong people. If you want to go, you got to go big,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
at that
You,
point,
mhm,
if you're just recruiting a McGuy guy to just come and play who's like not that good, like that's just a waste of space. You might as well just have another Hmong brother out there rather
mhm.
than what we had. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we were just like, yo, let's go big, bring a beast, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got so much like backlash on that too. Because like I believe like it's because of the huge following you may have like on TikTok, Instagram, everything like that. But like I think it takes a lot for a person to admit that like, hey, like, yeah, I didn't do much, right? But I did help out. I contributed. We already knew our parts. We knew that it was gonna go to them. And like the fact that you can admit that it shows a lot about who you are too, you
Yeah.
know? And so like, because normally people are gonna boast like, yeah, I went to the finals, but it's
Mhm.
like at least they can admit that they know what to expect. Like you said it
Yeah.
too, like you already knew like these guys are gonna be the ones to take you guys there.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, as much as we did get backlash, like at the end of the day, like none of us cared about like what some of
Hmm.
these haters were saying. Like
Yeah, for
none of
sure.
us cared about none of us I might get a lot of hate for that too, but it's okay. It's just the fact that we were just out here to come and play ball. And
Hmm.
if you're gonna hate on a team for trying to build a team to win, then I don't know what else to say because you can look at all these top teams, they don't just stick with the same players to go
Hmm.
out and win. Like in order to win and compete with other guys, you also need the help from other big dudes. Like think
Yeah.
about it.
Hmm.
Our Rhode Island came back J4. Their whole J4 2024 squad was completely new
Hmm.
They're
from
not the same for
their past
2023. Yeah,
exactly from the
yeah,
past year.
sure.
And like it's all about just recruiting and playing with better people to get you to play at a higher level.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I was gonna say like you guys literally follow the non-Asian rule too. So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Like
like you might just know better non-Asian players than other Hmong people, but it's all good. Like honestly, like um when I saw you guys there, I was like, dang, I didn't know like Jeremiah was gonna bring like Timika dudes, but you know what? At the end of the day, like winning is winning.
It's all fair game. Anyone
You
could
know,
do it. Like, you guys could bring white boys too,
like people do
It's
that in
like,
smaller tournaments too, like bringing
mhm.
in Mika dudes. So it's like,
mhm.
Yeah,
what's wrong with bringing it to the big dance? But
exactly. And so I wanted to add on a little bit more
mhm,
to that too. It's just the fact that yeah, like uh Hong Chen was saying, KC was saying, it's like, dude, like we all talked about it before the tournament, saying that, look, like we have these two big guys, but we also have to play our role in helping these big guys, whether that's just helping with passing, defense, or just going up to blocks so that those white guys know where to shift to and play defense, or like even if the like I didn't tell my setter not to set me or anything like
mhm,
that. I
Yeah. Mhm.
so we were just up there just doing our thing, playing our role and just and a lot of people can't admit to like do that because you
Yeah.
see with Hmong teams you see that's why Gutter Boys is so good. Like let me say an example. Gutter Boys is so good because they have a bunch of role players there to help them. Like Jason Danger can obviously play his own back row, but if you have somebody better to play his own back row, like he will let that player play his back
Hmm.
row. Or like even Brendan and all those guys, especially with like all the top Hmong teams. That's why they have so many back row players because like if this guy can do it better, let him do it. And
mhm.
those top teams know that and are willing to set out for somebody to play their role as long as it's better than how they would play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, people got to give you credit. You were playing middle, which which
Dude.
I don't see you playing much in like Hmong tournaments. But I was like,
Yeah.
damn, they got Jeremiah in the middle. I was like, all right, that's cool because even when you did go for I remember I think in the finals you did get like you went up for a quick, and I was like, damn, okay, he can play middle.
Yeah, see, like I don't play middle, but if it was just there to like support my team and support those other guys to be on the outside and kill it, like then yeah, there's other times where I can shine at tournaments, just not this
Hmm.
one.
Yeah, and then I also wanted to just ask, were there any in all of the tournaments you played, were there any like toughest matchup that you had like individually, whether it comes to like, dang, like I got to figure out how to block this guy, or like this guy was just chopping us up?
Or like a certain team? Like,
Yeah.
Man, the toughest one that I always look back on today is playing KO in the quarterfinals at Wausau.
Hmm.
Like that
mm,
game, I struggled real bad to the point to yeah, to where it was just hard for me to get a ball over the blocks because I had Andrew blocking me, the
yep.
lefty. So I had Andrew and Ethan blocking me, and man, they were like a lot. If you watch the videos, you could just see them stacking my side. And dude, I was trying to do everything I could do to see
Hmm.
if I could get past it. Like there's points where I was swinging as high as I can, trying to just roof Andrew. Dude would block me straight down. I'd be like, dang, like
Yeah.
what?
Hmm.
Like what? But then like their defense was super solid too, but that was probably like the toughest matchup I would say was for me. Like thankfully we were able to like last with those guys because those guys were able to pick me up even when I was at my lowest in
Hmm.
that game. So yeah,
Okay.
toughest matchup.
Yeah, and then just focusing on off the court, because there's no way a guy like you just doesn't work out to get your bounce, your vertical. I think everyone wants to know just like what the workout routine looks like for you, especially any like
Mhm.
dieting that you do for it, and then just what's your max vert?
Um, so my training routine, it's not anything like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm in the gym like almost 5 days a week. I'm in there
Hmm.
just because in order to have a good vertical, you have to be training consistently. And
Mhm.
I've learned that over the past with especially a lot of trainers that I've been with and a lot of professional people that have said that too, where it's like, if you slack off just even the slightest, you can see your results go down so fast. So I'm
Hmm.
typically in the gym a lot just to work on my vertical, just to stay in shape. And a lot of people think I'm in there just to like look good or anything like that, but I'm not. In order to, because I have goals in the future too, to where, eventually I want to be able to play volleyball with my kids in the future. And for that to happen, I have to stay in shape.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that's the gym, you know. I'm not saying that, I won't tear my ACL or anything like that, but going to the gym helps me prevent a lot of these injuries that you see within, the Hmong volleyball community.
Mhm.
Uh, but for dieting, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys. Like, I don't really diet.
Man,
I
I don't blame you, man. It's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
it's hard. Like, I don't
Hmm.
really diet because with the amount of exercise I do, I don't really need to watch what I eat as long as I'm just getting enough of what I need to, I
Hmm.
guess, function and grow in
Mhm.
general. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. What's your max vert? Like, if you don't mind telling everyone.
So my max just standing with no approach was 36 inches.
Mm.
And then my max running vert was 41 and a half inches.
Ooh,
So
man, that's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got to be able to compete with Brendan O'Neill, all right? He's
Yeah.
Yeah,
jumping
yeah, yeah.
well over
Dunk,
50.
he's in
So
Dunk Academy already, like everything like that. Like, man, it's crazy.
exactly. So I gotta
Okay.
gotta keep training.
And
Yeah. And
so I was gonna ask you now. So, where did the like social media
Mhm.
people kind of call you an influencer now? Would you consider yourself an influencer? On that kind of scale? Because you do get like sponsored by like Way of Weights and all like
Mhm.
workout like kind of like protein powder like all these kind of things. So like would you kind of consider yourself a like an influencer? And if so, like how did this like kind of come into like play?
I guess you can kind of say I would be an influencer. I hate saying that. Like,
Yeah.
I just hate saying that title. Like, I don't want to be given that title of like where people only
Mhm.
see me as a like social media influencer.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
still want everybody with what I have. I still want everybody to treat me like just a normal Hmong person they would see at a tournament. But
Mhm.
how that came along, dude, I remember it was quarantine and some people were just like, yo, just start posting on TikTok. And I was like, all right. Like I started posting on TikTok and then eventually I started posting volleyball videos and people liked it. And I was like, wow, like kind of amazing. So I just kept going on with it and started realizing that, people love to see me play volleyball. And so I kept doing it and I just kept going and it inspired people. And also, like, the people that comment on my posts and stuff like that, like, they inspire me to keep on doing this every day. So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
and how did Way of Wade like kind of came about? Because a lot of people, I will say, in the Hmong community, wear Way of Wade because of you. And so like where did that come from? Like,
so actually, Wade didn't message me. I messaged them first because
mm,
what was it? I was starting to get kind of big on social media. Not like big, but like well known enough on social media to where I had enough followings where I was, confident in messaging Wade about like, hey, like this potential partnership. And a couple of my friends were like, yeah, like, a lot of people reach out to companies before they reach out to them. So I
Mhm.
was like, you know what? Like, let me try to do the same thing. And I reached out to Wade, and surprisingly, I did not expect for them to get back to me so quick. And they got
mm,
back to me quick. And after that, like, we started working together. I've been creating videos for them ever since, and I'm loving it. So,
yeah.
Yeah, everything worked out, man. And then
hmm
this one, it's gonna be a tough question, but what's your Hmong volleyball Mount Rushmore? I ask every guest this. They always have different people. So all time, like top four, top three.
Ooh. So, man, it's not like hard for me to name. It's just a couple of the names are gonna be obvious. I mean, I gotta put Yilang and Hova up top
Mm,
for like out of there. Just because they're the most well-rounded players that I've seen play. They can do
Mhm.
everything. They could set, hit, pass, play defense. Um, and then I gotta give some credit to some of my PA guys too. I would say Anu from Pennsylvania. Only a couple of the older guys from out of state will know him. Because
Mhm.
mm,
I would say Easy, another Pennsylvania guy that kind of took me in as their little brother and started getting me better. So those are my guys right there. And then another out of state that I would say is a beast. Dude, right now, like currently right now, if we're
Yeah.
talking about just Hmong players, dude, my top three would probably be Justin Wall from Rockstar. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Dude's
Mm,
a straight up tank. I'd definitely give it to Andrew Yang as well, the lefty.
yeah. Mm,
And for third, man, it's gonna be hard. Third, third. I have it. That's hard. Third,
Dude, you can put yourself in
I
it.
don't like doing that. I don't like
yeah.
doing that. I'm gonna say the one that usually gives us trouble the most every time I play this guy is Auden,
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
young buck
Auden.
from
Yep.
Very,
Wisconsin.
very
Yep.
I think
underrated
he's
picks. Yeah.
I think he's a very underrated right now, but dude's becoming a beast and he's gonna be the future of Wisconsin.
Hmm.
Mm,
So
Okay. And then I know you play ball on the East Coast and you've come to the Midwest and then you actually played against the West Coast guys, the Cali guys. Do you notice like any differences in like play style between the three of you guys?
I would say I wouldn't say there's really a difference because, I've played college ball and I've seen what systematic volleyball looks like
Hmm.
playing in system.
mm,
And I would say like playing against Cali and them, they were definitely a more systematic team that comes out to play in these Hmong tournaments. So it's a little bit harder to adjust to them, because a lot of these teams they don't run plays like Cali and them do. And
yeah.
that's what separates Cali from some of these teams because these teams like they're an actual team that runs actual plays and like that's hard to stop. And for us, we try to do what they do, run the quick middles. We try to run quick plays to separate our hitters from other blockers like they do.
Hmm.
But man, those guys are so good because man, all of them are just so athletic.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
their play style, I would say, is pretty similar to the East Coast, just because we have high school ball, we have college ball are all around us. So I would say it's pretty similar. It's just those guys are just animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you prefer playing in like in like a more like a Mong kind of setting, or would you rather play in like in a Mika kind of setting? Like, like Mong ball or Mika ball, like
So,
American ball.
so I like American ball just because it's more fast paced.
Mm,
Um, like you can't just be standing around the court. Like you have to constantly be paying attention. I mean, sometimes when I'm playing Hmong Volleyball, I'll just be like standing there and like dozing
waiting.
off at times. Yeah, or like
Yeah.
waiting. But with like Miguel Ball, it's definitely a lot faster paced. When you come, especially from my experience, like I like playing at a fast pace. So when you go from playing college to going to play Hmong Ball at such a slow pace, like the game just feels like it's so much easier. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people can say that too. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's also just Hmong Ball is not as tiring as American Ball or Miguel Ball, just because, dude, like when you're playing Miguel Ball, like you have to get your butt, like if you're going up for a block, you have to be ready to go back and hit or something
Hmm.
like that. But with Mong Ball, it's like some people you can just see some people standing around.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then I didn't even think of this question till now because I know, like, I've seen you play and I've seen KC play.
Mhm.
Obviously, you guys, when you make it a decent like amount of when you win enough, people come after you guys or they want to like,
Mhm.
talk shit to you guys.
There's a
Um,
target.
but
Yeah.
do you remember like what's like do you remember like a specific moment where you're like, damn, like that guy like was talking shit to you and you're because I know you don't obviously say anything back most of the
Mhm.
time, but yeah, what's like the craziest thing like someone said to you on the court?
Man, I gotta think. This might be a hard one for me to think about too, because like you said, I mean, I'm the type of person that doesn't really talk trash on the court or anything like
Hmm.
that. I just let my game do the work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, outside of Mong Ball, I wouldn't say anybody really talks trash to me where I had
Hmm.
to like say something back or like
Okay.
Yeah.
defend any of my teammates. Just because, I mean, whoever really plays against us, we respect them and they respect us.
Yep.
That's usually how it goes. So they don't really say much to us. It's
Hmm.
usually the crowd that says it to where they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yo, like, you
Hmm.
gotta say something back. And I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna say anything to this guy when he's not saying anything to me. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're like if he starts trash talking to me, like I'm not gonna trash talk to them. Like I'll just let
Hmm.
my game do the work. Like that's how we all play in Pennsylvania. So yeah,
Yeah.
we just don't talk trash. But I don't know. The team that's probably talked trash to us the most is probably like Gutter Boys, but I know they do it all out of respect and all for the fun of the game. So it's not
Hmm.
like,
Yeah. It's not
we're gonna
personal
go
for
in here. Yeah,
sure.
it's not personal or anything. Some
Yeah.
teams trash talk, but some teams don't realize that whatever is said on the court stays on the court.
Yep.
Hmm.
So,
Um, and then before we get to like some of the comments that people left on my Facebook post, I wanted to
mhm.
ask what we can expect from Fanatics, and then just you playing volleyball in 2025 as well.
Uh, I think right now the only tournament that we're really looking at is July 4th tournament, just
Mm.
because the summer is really busy for some of us.
Hmm.
But we're you definitely will see us probably July 4th tournament is where you'll probably mainly only see Fnatic because usually now Fnatic can't really we don't really play as a full team at most tournaments just because it's hard to
Hmm.
get guys out. And then yeah, so probably just J4 and we're trying to come back and win it this year.
So will you,
Not
so
second
will
place.
you, so will you guys, well, two questions. So are you guys gonna bring back the same guys? Like, you could say like,
I think someone
I mean,
wanted to ask that too. They're like, "Hey,
yeah, like,
who
are
you
you
bringing
gonna,
back?"
yeah, like, are you guys gonna bring back the same guys? And I was gonna say like, even though Fanatics isn't playing, is Jeremiah Pa gonna come out to like other tournaments like in the Midwest or like Cali?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
are you
even
still
if
gonna come out?
hmm so for specifically J4, we're definitely bringing the same guys.
Mm,
Uh at least the same two white boys. And
yeah.
then uh I mean, we need more guys to go out and compete with. You guys saw those Rhode Island guys. Like,
Mm.
we need at least middles to be able to go up there and hang with them. So you might see some new Asian players, but I
Okay,
can't say
okay.
nothing. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't
Mhm.
say too much. But yeah, you'll definitely see us. You'll see us there, and then other tournaments. Usually KC, you can attest to this that you really only see like me and Kenji come out
Yeah,
to those other tournaments, those smaller tournaments. So you'll probably see us here and there since we're the only ones that are really left to ball to ball
yeah.
here in PA. So you'll
Mhm.
definitely see us there.
Okay. And then yeah, just go into the fan questions or people commenting on the page. They just wanted to know, I guess they're asking how often do you train per week now? Like volleyball wise, do you
So now, so I'm out of college now, and so I'm not surrounded by college ball every day.
Mhm.
So now it's just I'm mainly just working out just to jump higher. Lately
Mhm.
I've been a little off track just because of, the New Year's that have come up, the
Mhm.
Thanksgiving. So trying to get myself back on track and getting prepared for summer. I'm probably training about now that I'm on a new program and collaborating with this one coach, I'm training almost like 6 days a week. So yeah, that's what my training looks like right now.
Okay.
Mm.
And then someone asked, and I know you responded to them, but they asked, why is he so loyal to his Hmong players on his team? Some of them could be drafted and replaced. Any thoughts, comments?
Um, yeah, I saw that comment and I was like, dude, like, did you guys just not see our J4 roster? Like, we had so
Mhm.
many guys sitting out because our white boys were playing. Like, I'm not loyal to my team. It's like, because we've all played high school volleyball here. We've all played at a higher level,
Mhm.
and we've all played on a team to where, you can't get a starting spot by just not doing anything. Like, you have to put in the work if you want to play.
Mhm.
And for J4, when we brought up those white guys, I gave my guys, I straight up told my Hmong boys, and I was like, dude, like, J4 is in half a year. We're going this year, and if none of you guys don't put in the work, you guys just won't be playing. Like, it's as
Mhm.
simple as that. And, there were some guys that put in the work, the guys that you saw on the court, the guys that you didn't see on the court. Not saying that they didn't put in work either, but like I said, it's whoever works the hardest. Because even I always tell my Fanatic boys, I'm always like, dude, like if we ever go to a tournament and even like I start sucking, like go ahead, like you have the right to be like, yo, you're sitting on the bench, or like yeah, like you have the right to tell me that I freaking suck and that I need to sit out for a couple plays.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we're not loyal to each other in a sense, but we still are at the same time. We're just hard on each other when tournaments come up. Like especially J4, like that's a big tournament. Like nobody's just gonna be able to play if they're not doing anything, you know? Like I don't want a player to play if they think that they can just do nothing and get to play on a big stage like that. You know what I mean? So, because there are times where shoot, like, you play high school ball, you can't just expect to be played if you don't put in work. In
Mhm.
Mhm.
college, like I didn't expect to get played if I wasn't putting in the extra work too. So yeah, so that kind of answers the question. Like our J4 squad, like nobody's loyal to anybody. And when that happened, people got mad at us when we didn't start any of our Hmong guys. Said, "Oh, like why aren't the Hmong brothers playing?" I'm like, dude, like we're not here to just play for our friends. We're here to win.
Mhm.
Like we know our goals, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly think too that like a big reason too for that is like some people may be like, dude, Jeremiah's like they put you on a pedestal to where they're like, oh my gosh, he's better than everyone on his team, right? Or they probably say
Mm.
stuff like that. But I think people got to realize that like, yo, like these are the only Hmong people he got at PA.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And their family, and some of them are like respect to you because they're your church people,
Hmm.
and like I think people got to realize that there's a deeper bond in brotherhood
Hmm.
compared to like just like a teammate on like a random pickup team.
Yeah.
And I think people need to understand like people got to understand like, oh man, like I could see it like, oh man, he's playing with them because obviously that's his boys. If you guys just see it from like an outside perspective, they're not gonna know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about that, that's also true. Like, I don't really like to go to tournaments anymore unless like I'm going with like Kenji or like Rich or like some of my other boys. Because,
Hmm.
dude, I always tell my boys this. I'm like, dude, like, if you guys are the ones that want to go and play in these tournaments, and if you guys ask, like, I would rather play with you guys than if any other team were to ask me to go up and play. Just because it's like more fun. But yeah, like all
Mm.
those guys, they're my brothers, man. All my brothers on the court, and we play for each other. Like, we'll even yell at each other sometimes, and like we might get mad at each other, but at the end of the day, we know that it's just volleyball and nothing else.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. No, I do. I feel the same way too. Like if Casey's not playing, or like if I'm just gonna go watch, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like like
Exactly, right?
it's
Like
just
you
not as
do,
fun. But
yeah, it's not as
I
fun,
think people
you
got to
know?
remember, like Hmong people, we very hospitable, but we gotta like share some love because
Yeah.
um, I think one of the other questions people wanted to ask was, should Hmong volleyball allow or make a shift towards the international rules?
On my perspective, I will say no, just because like if you wanted to make an international game, great, let's go play indoors, let's go run an indoor tournament and then we could play international.
Hmm.
But what's so special about Hmong volleyball is that we have our own separate set of rules and like that's what makes it Hmong volleyball. Like if you want to make things international, like open it up to international players then, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
I just think that the rules in Hmong volleyball, like they're good the way they are. I like the no overhand passing. I like the no net serves. It's just a more clean style of playing volleyball. And I think that
Mhm.
really, with those rules, it really showcases a team's skill, because I mean, for example, look at like no hate to Russia or anything, but when they ran the international rules, dude,
They
Rush
ran
Hour
it.
killed everybody.
They
Yeah,
ran through
they
everyone.
killed everybody. And then when you go back and play Hmong rules, like teams like that, they start to struggle with, just strictly just platform passing and playing actual defense where it has to be picked up in a clean way. So I just think Hmong volleyball, it's plus it's fun too. Like, dude, who wants to play side outs or who wants to play rally scoring? Like,
Yeah, and everyone complains about that. Like, right? Like, yeah, we want playing time.
Like
Yeah.
it's cool enough for pool play, but when playoffs comes, dude, everybody wants to play side out scoring just because, man,
Hmm.
the games are much longer. You can get much more intense games by having a team possibly come back from like 14 to like 9. But if that's like
Hmm.
international, dude, no team is gonna be able to come back with that. Like,
Yeah. Like I think people got to remember too, like even though you guys made it to the finals, like dude, each game before that was like an hour. Like you guys weren't just
yeah,
like dominating. You guys were actually like
exactly.
competing.
And that's
Uh,
what makes the Mong scoring so good because I think if it was Rally with Gutter Boys, Rally with Rush Hour, it
mhm,
obviously would have been good games too. But I just think that it would have been too quick. You know what I mean? Way
mhm.
too
Hmm.
quick for people to actually enjoy and watch. Because,
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah, and then someone asked, why do you think disparities exist among volleyball players and then athletes of different ethnic groups? So I guess like the non-Asian and the Hmong community, basically.
From my perspective, I just see it as it depends on which ethnic group wants it more. Like, I
Hmm.
think that's the only like disparity between Hmong people and other races. You see, I'm not saying that Hmong people don't work out hard at what they do, but if you see the work that other races put in to get good at their sport, because dude, there's so many people out there that are like, oh, like, you don't need to go to the gym to work to to stay fit to play volleyball, or like, oh, you don't need to work on like fundamentals to play volleyball or anything like that. Like all
Hmm.
you need to do is just go out there and play. just play, play, play. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, that's like not how you get better. Like that's how these
Hmm.
Mikau people are so good is because they're getting the right training. They're working out, they're getting their fundamentals down by coaches. They're working on the simple things every day. But Hmong people, it's just like, yeah, just go out there and play. Like there's some kids that I see where it's like, dude, some of them don't even know how to jump correctly. And I'm like, dude, if you just knew how to do that, you would be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Or like some people don't even know how to hit a ball with correct form. Like, dude, if you just fix this and fix that, like you would be a tank. But I think it's the disparity is just depending on like the work ethic because there's a lot of people out there that put in the hard work compared to Hmong people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it too is just like I think they just hate it because they're like, oh, it's supposed to be a Hmong thing. Why are they coming?
yeah.
But I think we gotta realize that we're growing. Like they're coming here because we could play. You know what I mean? Like they're not
Hmm.
coming here because they're like, oh, this is gonna be easy money. It's like no, they're coming
Yeah,
here because they know the competition's good. Like I kid you not,
exactly.
like there's people like Mikapio that would be like, oh yeah, I'm coming because I want to be KO'd, not because of yeah, because Travis, but it's like, oh, I heard
Hmm.
Hova and Ylang are good. You know, like they're coming here because they know that Hmong people could play too. It's not just because they think they could
Yeah,
destroy us, you know. And I think that's a
exactly.
big misconception. Like they're not here to destroy us. They're here to they want to get challenged too, you know?
For
Yeah.
sure. For
I
sure.
mean, even our white boys said that too. They're like, dude, like Hmong people, like they can play ball. Like
Hmm.
like they
Yeah.
gave props to the Hmong community. They love the Hmong community because they said they loved it so much that they want to come back and they just I haven't heard negative things about the Hmong community coming from their mouths ever
Mm-hmm.
since they came up and played. So that was a good thing.
Hmm.
No, that's awesome. And then someone wanted to ask, what was the moment you fell in love with the game?
Um, the moment I fell in love with the game was when I started coming out to more tournaments. I loved seeing the vibe of everybody just coming to a tournament to just eat, play volleyball, and see family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Because like as much as I love volleyball, like coming out of state to come play in these tournaments aren't the only thing that I come and do. So falling in love with the game was there are a lot of other aspects that made me fall in love with the game. Just
Mm-hmm.
coming out of state, coming to hang out with friends and families, having a good time, playing ball. Yeah, so that's probably when I fell in love with ball when I started coming out and yeah, coming out of state and meeting new people. That's when I fell in love with it.
Cool. And then I think my last question overall is just any predictions for next year's J4? Someone wants to know your predictions on the first, second, and third. Obviously, we don't know who's signed up, but just any
Yeah,
idea on who you think is going to go to the finals and whatnot?
I can't. I always got to give props to those other teams that come out and play.
Mm.
So it'll be hard to determine
Hmm.
who's on top just because you never know who's gonna bring who. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
we weren't
Hmm.
even predicted to make it out of pool play, and turns out we
Yeah.
made it to the
Remember,
finals.
yeah. Remember the sports bet?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
parlays,
Yeah.
people made parlays saying like, "Oh, who's gonna win this year? Who's gonna be top teams?" Turns out, next thing you know, tournament comes. Dude, random teams are in the finals, like East Coast in the finals, and just yeah, it's just I don't know who. I think it can be whoever this year.
Okay.
But I know we're trying to come back and win it though. That's all I'll
Hmm.
say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I think that's it for me. Did you have any questions, Casey, before I end the
I would say
recording?
one last question is what advice would you give for the next generation? Because obviously, they view you as like their like you inspire a lot of the youth. So what would
Mhm.
be your advice to them?
Going off of that, I mean, I appreciate that the youth, wants to jump high like me and wants to become a player like me. But I always tell the youth, it's like, dude, I always tell the younger generation, it's like, you have an idol you look up to, but in the end, you always want to become better than that idol. So I always tell kids, yeah, if you want to become a good player, like become better than me. But for the younger generation that's coming up, if you want to compete, you have to put in the work.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, there are some people that are blessed out there who don't have to do as much, but if you want to be able to outshine others, that's putting the work, whether that's in the gym or just getting more reps in, because shoot, for a person like me, like all had to do was just hop in the gym and some others couldn't compete with that.
Hmm.
And if you want to keep working, just stay focused on your goals, find out, yeah, just work hard at it. I know it's simple, but
Mhm.
I know people probably hear that a lot too, but it's like, if you actually work at something, you'll be great at it. And that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll stop the recording.